Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing went missing early yesterday morning, and the search is now on to recover the plane and its 239 passengers and crew. Here's what we know. The flight disappeared on its way to Beijing with 200 plus passengers and 12 crew on board. 6 Australians were on the flight, along with 1 New Zealander who resides in Perth, and 2 of the passengers say they did not board the flight. It's believed their passports were stolen, which is a very interesting aspect of this story. For more, we're joined by Tracy Vo in Kuala Lumpur. Tracy, the plane is believed to have crashed somewhere near Vietnam. It just disappeared off our screens.
Yeah, well, the search is still continuing, Cam. There is still no sign of this Boeing 777, and the search for the aircraft has now expanded to a wider area in the waters between Malaysia and Vietnam. We understand that 15 Army aircraft as well as Navy vessels have now been deployed, and several nations are now involved in this search. That's including Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore and the United States. But as in terms of the search, they still have no idea exactly where this plane might have, or if it has gone down in the waters there. There have been reports out of Vietnam that 2 oil slicks have been spotted in the waters there, but there's still no confirmation. That was coming from the Vietnamese Navy. So obviously authorities here in Kuala Lumpur are still waiting for confirmation on that. What's happening here in Kuala Lumpur, there are updates every couple of hours. The hotel behind me here is where they're holding press conferences involving Malaysia Airlines and also the Prime Minister and his other colleagues as well. And families have actually been asked to come down here and also to the airport, which is just right next door to this hotel, to try and to obviously give them a further update as well of how the search is going on. We also understand that Malaysia Airlines has offered these family members, once they do find the aircraft, to actually ferry the family members to that area when they do hopefully find where this Boeing 777 is, Cam.
Yes, Tracy, there's been anger from families and relatives knowing that there was a 5-hour gap between when this plane disappeared from radar screens and when everyone was alerted to the fact that they had lost contact with this flight. There's an interesting angle developing that 2 people boarded this flight using stolen passports.
Yeah, that's right. I think authorities are still wondering how this may have happened. There were 2 names on the passenger list for that flight to Beijing. One was an Italian man named Luigi Moraldi, but it's now been revealed that this man, the real Luigi Moraldi, is still holidaying in Thailand, and his passport was stolen a couple of weeks ago. His family, he alerted family members in Italy once he found out that his name was on this passenger list. The other fellow is Christian Kozel, an Austrian man, and now it's believed the Austrian embassy has revealed that this man's passport was stolen 2 years ago, also from Thailand. So authorities here are still wondering who those people are that have been holding these passports and boarded this plane.
Yes, and it raises the possibility of terrorism, doesn't it? What do we know about the Australians on board this flight?
Yeah, of course, we know 6 Australians were on board this flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. 2 of the couples were from Brisbane, and they were Rodney and Mary. They are Rodney and Mary Burrows, and Catherine and Robert Lawton. And their friends travelling through the area here. They were headed to Beijing after a short trip here in Kuala Lumpur. We've heard from family members saying that they are in shock and obviously quite distressed because there's still no news coming out from this search. It's been over 24 hours now since the plane went missing. The other pair from Australia are from Sydney, and their names are Lee Yuan and Gu Nai Jin. And they were residing in the hills area of Sydney, and their family members as well are still in shock and distress. It's also been revealed that 1 New Zealander was residing in Perth for the last 2 years. His name is Paul Weeks, and we understand that he was headed to Mongolia for a new job, a fly-in, fly-out job there as an engineer. We've heard from his wife as well, who was understandably very emotional and hoping to here for any news. As you mentioned in your question earlier, Cam, as well, with in terms of a possibility, different kinds of scenarios, including terrorism, Malaysia Airlines hasn't ruled any scenario out just yet.
All right, Tracy Vo, thank you very much for that update this morning. It's the news that we all dread when we have friends and loved ones travelling.